The OK Show on a Thursday. Thursyay, Rodriguez, Iceman with Duck right
What up,
behind you.
man? Yeah, what up?
Nothing
Here we
much.
here we go again. So where is Patrick? Show's not complete without the guy.
That's the one guy right there. That's him. I would bet that's him right over there.
Could be CJ. Could be
Could be
Joe Boy,
CJ.
waiting to say what's up. Could be. I don't know who could be. Could be a hater spying on us. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're that big though. For us to have a hater, you have to be pretty semi-famous to have a hater. It's actually a good thing to have a hater. I think. You know, this day and age,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't think everybody likes. I don't think everybody like. It'll be possible for somebody to be famous or popular this day and age. Like everybody likes that person. Could you think of a person who's popular, celebrity or athlete or whatever,
Well, I
who you
don't
think
know. I mean,
everybody likes?
it seems
Can you?
like nowadays everybody's popular.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even think of one, right? You can't think of a celebrity or artist or whatever who
Dude, there's
everybody
just so many
likes.
now. You can no, I mean, you cannot just like remember all these names and all these faces because there's just so many. Um there's just so many stuff to remember, so many things to look at, so many apps to check out. I mean, we got the TikTokers, we got the YouTubers, we got the Facebook live sellers, we got we got the actual legit actors, and um, we have sports and stuff. I mean, we all have these things happening that we don't really know who's who anymore. Like we don't know who's big, who's not.
Everything has
Everybody's
a parallel world now. Like if there's a real world equivalent, there's also a virtual world equivalent. Like, let's say there's a singer who's popular, like in the normal world, television and whatnot. And there are also popular singers in the internet world. There are people who live their lives in the internet world. Most of the kids now live their lives on Tik. They know the TikTokers, they know the YouTubers. They don't really know who the TV celebrities are anymore. They don't watch TV. So I don't know about athletes. I think athletes are still kind of mainstream. I don't think there's an internet version of LeBron. I don't think sports would be tough to kind of confine to
Are you kidding me?
the internet.
Are you kidding me? Internet version of LeBron? Dude, we have an internet version of Steph Curry, internet version of Luka Doncic. Haven't you seen those TikTokers
No, no,
or
no, no,
those
no.
people on Facebook?
I know, but they're not like legit. You know what? They're like,
Yeah, but you know,
they're not athletes per se. They're more of like, I mean, there's this guy who looks like Clay Thompson who got banned from ever watching live Golden State Warriors games because he
yeah, but
documented
to him it was
being
worth it because, I mean, he went
I
viral.
know, but they're not seen as athletes. That's what I mean. Like it's they're seen still as like YouTubers or celebrities or
Well,
even
yeah, I mean,
you
I
know.
know I know what you're saying, but
So that's kind of
even
hard
then,
to
it's
it's
hard.
hard,
But then even then, somebody can still
but it's
do
not the
something.
same. They're not gonna take the place of LeBron. They're not gonna be seen as heroes in sports. Unlike, let's say, comedians, you have your comedian versions on the internet. You have your singers on the internet. They're legit singers. These are
I
dancers. These
mean,
are legit dancers. They're not
okay.
like
Here's the thing.
but
Here's the thing. Like it's not even about like actually replacing them. It's just that there's just like so many of them now. I mean, it's not a bother to them. It's a bother to us people who like who am I supposed to look at now? Who am I supposed to watch now? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm going with this conversation. It's more of like there's like you can't replace. I mean, who can replace Michael Jackson? Nobody can replace Michael Jackson or Bruno
oh man,
Mars.
there's a lot of really
I mean,
good dancers on the
yeah,
internet
but
who
yeah, but still,
never
but they're
got
not
the
like
exposure.
yeah, but they're never gonna be Michael Jackson. But then they're gonna be around. I mean, with the internet, existing now.
What?
They're going to be around, and
Go.
but still, I mean, they're not going to have that following that Michael Jackson had. I mean, even like the actual actors, like okay, like let's say for example Logan Paul, right? I mean, the guy's a YouTuber, but he's no Tom Cruise. You know what I'm saying? He's no Kevin Hart.
Well, he's not acting. I mean,
Yeah, well, he is.
first off, he's not acting. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well,
I
what
think he
is
did a
like?
couple.
YouTuber. Yeah, he's a YouTuber. That's it. Like it's like yeah,
He does
a lot.
skits.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I mean, I would still like go for SNL than like why I would rather like watch SNL for skits or like Key and Peele.
Yeah, but there are a lot of there are a lot of those who are. I mean, that's because that we're the audience of SNL. I mean, the kids now they don't get that stuff. I mean, they don't. That's not their thing anymore. Their patience, their attention span is much shorter than ours. Their appreciation for deeper, more intellectual comedy is no longer there. I mean, how many kids now read books, man? I mean, we read books. We know about things that we didn't have to know about. That was the difference back in the day as compared to the kids now. Back in the day, we read stuff that we really was not our interest, but those were the only things available to us. So we read them, we digested them, and we thought we liked them. So we had a different kind of understanding of the world. A lot of the stuff that we ingested, we're not really by choice. They were just the ones available. Whereas with kids now, they literally can search specifically for what it is that they want and just focus on that. They don't need to read a freaking encyclopedia to know shit. Heck, they don't even have to open that crap. Then it's like they can just specifically go and find out about something. But for me, like when I was a kid growing up, we had the Encyclopedia Britannica, we had all that stuff. But that was all that was available to me. So I was reading them, I was absorbing them, but it did not mean that that was what I was interested in. It was just the stuff that I was interested in. I couldn't Google specifically. The movies or the videos I wanted to watch, I couldn't search on Netflix or YouTube. But the kids now have that power. And I think that's the difference. That's why for us, a lot of things have a wider appeal for us. We can watch action movies, we can watch romance, because we grew up watching things that we didn't really choose to watch. It was just what was available or what was popular at the time. Whereas now with the kids, they have TikTok and they can search specifically on TikTok BTS Army, and that's all that's going to show. Or the kids can just watch skateboarding games, or the kids can just watch dark humor or whatever, and it'll show up, and it's a specific thing. And I think that's, like I said, that's the difference. It's like even in sports, right? Even in sports, like why were we fans of the Chicago Bulls? Why were kids fans of the Lakers? Because those were the popular teams, and those games were the ones that were televised. Nobody ever showed a Washington Bullets game here in the Philippines. Nobody ever broadcasted a friggin' Minnesota Timberwolves. So how could you be a fan of anything else if you didn't watch any of those things? Whereas,
well, yeah, people in Washington didn't even watch their games.
exactly. No. But I was a fan. I mean, I was a fan. I mean, I was not a Lakers fan. I was not a Chicago. I was a Bullets fan. I'm still a Bullets fan.
There was like nobody in the arena, right? Like if you've seen The Last Dance, right? Right before Michael Jordan, nobody was there. Like nobody heard of the Bulls, like the Chicago Cubs. Like Chicago was like
yeah, that's
the
true.
Cubs or whatever. So when Michael, that's why they're televised because they're a good team. If you're a bad team, nobody's gonna watch.
No. But what I meant was like here in the Philippines, like those were the only two teams that were televised. Basically, everybody I knew here were either a Magic Johnson fan or a Michael Jordan fan. I'm like, dude, there are a lot of other NBA players out there. It's just them. But I think, but the main reason why everybody was a fan of those guys, that, like I said, those were the guys that were talked about. Those were the guys that were seen. Those were the guys that got an exposure. But if you lived in the States, and let's say you lived in New York, or you lived in Oklahoma, or you lived in wherever, your team will get maximum coverage, regardless of whether they suck or not. Majority of the people there will of course cheer for their hometown heroes, regardless of whether they sucked or not. But in the Philippines, where are you gonna buy any merchandise for the Wizards? Where are you gonna buy any merchant? You can't even buy any merch in the States. If you lived in that state, that's what they would be selling in their sporting goods stores. And that's what I'm saying. It's like that was the difference back then. It's that the people back then, we thought we made those choices. We didn't. The media just provided that to us, and we were just stuck with those choices. Whereas with now, the kids have a choice, and media can't do a damn thing about it. You know, they could push stuff down kid. Because back in the day, if you were just watching TV, whatever the advertisers of that TV station was, or the TV stations out there was, those were the only products that became household names. Colgate, Crest, Coca Cola, whatever, right? Because those are the only ones that could afford advertising in those big syndicated channels with those syndicated shows. Whereas now, do you even watch TV? The kids don't even watch TV anymore. So what do they watch?
Still use Colgate.
They go on YouTube. They go. No, like I said, we're not talking about choices here per se of what to buy. The parents would probably still decide on what to buy when it comes to consumer products. But at the end of the day, it's not just that; those are not the only things that the kids are aware of. It's not We're not limited to what TV presents to us, right? Because I don't even watch TV anymore. I don't even know what's being advertised on TV. I just know what's being advertised on YouTube, and that's the sad tale about YouTube is that they're advertising like crazy too, just like they do on TV. But at least with YouTube, you can skip the ads, and they usually tailor the ads to the market who's watching that particular show. So if like you're a gamer and you're watching gamer shows on YouTube, then they will show gaming commercials.
It's more dangerous because they target you. Oh, this guy likes shoes. We're gonna pop up a lot of shoes in his webpage.
That's still better though than stuffing stuff down your throat that you really can care about and be brainwashed into buying stuff that you don't really want or not interested in. But I mean, it's not better or anything. It's just like I said, it's not. It doesn't mean it's better. It might actually.
No, I never
Ignorance
bought
is
anything I
bliss.
want.
Ignorance is bliss, they say. So it might actually be better that we didn't know anything. It might actually be better that we were just watching TV with two channels than having all this choice. We really don't know. We're still trying to figure that out. We're still trying to figure out if the effect of the children having their choices now is better than the effect of us having no choices back then. And we will find out in the near future when these kids grow up to be disturbed, scientists create destructive stuff, or they might actually make the world a better place to live in. We don't know. That remains to be seen. But all I know is that the world we live in now is a product of the world we lived in the past. The kids now, it's just moving so quickly, dude. Like you look at the people who run Google, you look at the people who own YouTube or whatever. These people are like in their 30s, man. They're young. They're kids. They're not like old people, It's not like back in they don't have meetings like the chairman of the board's like 70 years old and there's like a bunch of 60-year-old men making decisions for a certain product or company. Decisions are not being made by people of that age bracket anymore. So we're talking about people who are young, whose minds change quickly, whose ideas are consistently flowing. That's the world that we live in now. And like I said, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We only know what suits us. And I don't know, for me so far, I see all these choices and I don't really know what its effect on me mentally. I don't know what its effect on you mentally as well. I mean, if you sit and watch TV or the internet the whole day, do you go to bed feeling like you were a better person? Are you in good spirits afterwards, or do you feel
No, like I said, I'm a
stressed
people
out or
person.
weighed
Like
down?
internet is, it's the reason why. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people who are like okay. How can I explain this? Like internet is really vital, right? Like, but at the end of the day, I would still prefer like physical contact or like a face to face sort of situation than like a sort of an internet. I don't know. It's just kind of hard. Like what you're saying, we live in a different world, and like what I notice now, and you can't do anything about it because that's how it is. Like
But the
even
face to
even
face now, dude, it doesn't even exist anymore. Have you tried getting together with friends? What do they do? They're all on their phones. Trust me, I've done it. I have, they're all on their phones. I meet up with friends and I'm like, we're all sitting there looking at our phones, and I'm looking at my phone too. So I mean, I don't really. It's like nobody cares about who they're talking to anymore because they can get so much more information from what they're looking at. Like, I'll talk to my friend. What is he gonna tell me? I mean, how much am I gonna learn from this guy? It wasn't like before where we didn't have phones, we didn't have internet. If you have a friend who went abroad, right, and he came back, we all could learn so much from that friend with their stories that they would tell. We're all like gathered together, like, "Bay, so kumusta ano bay? Bay, God, we did to bay, ano ba?" So you're excited to actually hear from your friend. But now it's like, where have you been? Where'd you go? I'll Google that. I'll know more about that than you actually went there. I could actually probably tell you more about the stuff you went to just being on the internet, just based on how good of a researcher I am. So there really is no excitement anymore to be with people unless you want to have sex with them, unless it's you just want to see them physically. There's really nothing much to learn. Like I have relatives who come home from abroad, and I'm like, they're not bringing anything new to the table. Unlike they're not bringing any pasalubong that I haven't seen that you can't buy at SNR. I mean, like I said, unlike before, we're like, every time there's something new, it was really new. They're bringing something new. They're telling us something new. It smells new. The product is new. The food is new. The story is new. Now it's like, even if you haven't been abroad, it might, like, your kids would be like, yeah, I've had that. Like you get excited. Like back in the day, if you get like a pasalubong from the States, oh, may Doritos or whatever. Kids would be like, they sell that at 7-Eleven. Kids would be saying that they sell at 7-Eleven. But back in the day, if a relative brought home like Pringles or something, pag-aagawan yan. So I think I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I know you're excited about being with people. I'm excited to see my friends too. But it's no longer excited to see them because there's something new. I'm excited to see them because we're reminiscing about the past. Balik-balik na lang ang storya. I get together with my Bakaka boy friends. What do we talk about? The past. I get together with Chuck and Mao. What do we talk about? The
Well,
past.
certainly you can't talk about the future. Of
I
course, you're
mean,
going to talk about the past.
no.
That's
At
how
least
it
you can talk
is.
about. At least you can talk about the present, right? At least you can talk about the present, or you can discuss the future if there's something exciting about it. But there's nothing else anymore. I mean, unless you have super brilliant friends who work at, who are work at MIT or into nuclear research or something that we really don't know anything about, then that's fine. But if you have like regular people friends and you talk to them, there's nothing new. I don't even know what to tell my friends. Like when I get together with my friends, I'm like, there's nothing I can tell them that they don't know already. You can't be excited about knowing something because you know that they know about that. Like, dude. Have you read? Like Mao's always like that. Whenever we
We
get
call it a
together.
hangout and not school, because school is where you learn. If you hang out with your friends, you just hang out. You don't learn anything from these guys. You just hang out and be stupid.
Well, you learn the
That's
things
what
that you
people
don't learn in
do.
school. You learn the things that you don't learn at school. You discuss the things that you don't discuss at school. That's supposedly what it's about. I mean, I don't really know because I mean, you don't drink. Like me, I drink. So at least when I get together with my friends, I know I have something to do, even if we're not talking. I'm drinking. But let's say if you're not drinking, you're just there for the conversation. So you get there. I mean, it's probably different for you because you probably enjoy carrying and kickstarting the conversation. But if let's say you're there waiting for the friend to entertain you with their conversation, that's different. But for you, it's like you get something out of telling the story, so you're fine. As long as your friends are there, you're fine. You don't have to hear from your friends; they can hear from you. But for me, it's like I don't know how much then my friends would want to hear from me because I mean, I'm gonna tell them raising my kids. I mean, been there, done that. So it's getting harder. It's not like I said, it's not like before where you have a friend who you get excited to see because he'll always tell you these brilliant stories, or you always have these friends who come from different parts of the world and different experiences in life that you want to hear about. Maybe you have a friend who's a doctor. Maybe you have a friend who's a lawyer, and you get together. They'll tell you about their respective experiences and careers. And I don't know, maybe back in the day that would be something really, really exciting and eye opening. But now it's like I don't know, man. I mean, okay, Patrick says metaverse is a thing now. The problem with old people most of the times that they resist technology. Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of like what Ice and myself, well, that's what we're talking about. I don't think we resist technology, but we do prefer talking to people face to face, Patrick. So maybe we are old people as well. Not that we resist it, we welcome technology, but we also want to talk to people. We don't just want to be like on our phones all the time. I mean, I want to see ice too, but we're also using technology doing this. So I'm talking to him, but technology is involved. That's why we're able to do this because of technology. So we're not
Pros
resisting
and
it.
cons. Pros and
Yeah, we're
cons.
not resist.
Yeah,
We're
we're
not
not.
resisting.
It's more of like the effect that we don't like. It's not actually a negative effect, but it's like for in my case, it's like the effect that I don't like personally, right? Because like for example, like we can look at one thing and there can be different interpretations, and it could have different effect to different people. Like for example, I read no, I didn't read, but I saw something on Facebook today, and it was from a colleague,
Sapling.
right? And he posted something about it was like sort of a meme, and it says like, can I call you whatever for let me check again just to be precise. And I was just like, really? I'm like, wow. I don't know if you're one of those guys. Like, okay, this is what he posted. No, just text me. And it's like from freaking page, like bold.com. It's like, nope. Free. It says here, free for a quick call, easier to explain on the phone, right? So this was the meme. This was the meme. All right.
Okay.
And it says like, nope. And the guy say, no, just text me. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I still prefer calls than text. Like, if it's something that that's important and it's something that needs to be explained, I would rather hear it from the person than actually just because there were comments there too. I'm like, these guys are probably young because there are comments like, well, I prefer it written so that I can just read it over and over again. Like, I would get it. I'm like, no. If you say, all right, no, I don't care. Like if somebody wrote that, you would not know what it sounded like. Like, I don't care or I don't care. Like, right? So it's like that's why I prefer to talk to the person because that the I don't care part could could be different from what you're reading. It's you're reading it. I don't care. And it's like what I don't care is this. Is this like I don't care or I don't care. Like I don't care. Like which one is it?
It's like you
Like
want
it's
to
not
get
like
you want to get the emotion, you know,
yeah, I want to hear
and
like
it's
what
hard to capture that in writing.
I know, and they were like, no, no, and I heard this from people, especially the younger ones. Like they don't want to get calls. They get a call and they get panic attacks. And I'm like, what? You get panic attacks for a freaking call? I mean, what? I was like, really? Panic attacks for a call? Like you can just like reject it if you don't know the number, or you can't not answer it. You can just like, it's that you. Why would you get panic attacks? Like it's a freaking phone call. Like we do, we get that all the time
People
back
are
in the
not.
day.
We're no longer programmed. I mean, we're not used to that kind of I
Talking
don't
to
know.
people
It's
anymore.
yeah. It's not. It's just not anymore. We can't like even with relatives. Like I know we. I mean, I have sisters who love to talk, and I'm gonna. I just okay. I really don't. But anyway,
You need to
yeah. I have
stick yourself
siblings
in.
who. No. It's alright. It's good. I have siblings who like who love to talk and stuff, but when we're on the phone, when we're talking, it's like it's that's a thing too. It's like there's not much to say anymore. You know why? Like I
No, 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 like,
said,
all right,
because
okay,
everybody can
that's a good.
see it on can see your life on Facebook
Yeah.
already.
No,
Like, what am I gonna
okay,
tell them?
no, all right, okay. I know what you're saying, but that's a family thing. That's whatever. But all I'm saying is like,
With
if
other
if
people?
it's some, no, no, yeah. I mean, like texting and talking. It's like if I need something, I need to like I need to change my schedule. I would rather talk to somebody, right, than just text
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and explain that like, oh, I need to do whatever, whatever, right? Like I'm going somewhere, blah blah. I need to tell the other person, the context of what I'm gonna do, right? Or maybe because we're just coming from a generation full of shit. Like we do a lot of bullshit, so we that's why we're like so gifted in like talking and like explaining things. Because sometimes when we try to change schedules, it's usually like we tell lies to get out of the schedule, right? And we're
Yeah.
so good at it. Now people are just like doing it in writing, and it's just still not. I cannot do that. I would like I'd call you and like, hey, dude, can we change the schedule? Can we like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I agree with Patrick. I agree with Patrick on this part. He says, whenever we get a phone call, usually we associate it with something that has with a sense of urgency or something super important or we just assume that because like I said, it's not a normal thing anymore to just call people, unlike back in the day. So for me, the thing that I hate the most is like sometimes I get especially in the Philippines, right? I get a phone call and it's like it puts you on the spot. Like it doesn't allow you to formulate a proper response because you're being put on the spot. Like what we were talking about last time, like the yes or no. All you have to do is yes, say yes, or sometimes you say no. But sometimes there are times where the answer, requires you to think a little bit first before you can actually give an answer. And sometimes there are people who require an immediate answer. And sometimes you'll regret giving that immediate answer because you didn't think things through or you didn't check up on your schedule. And I get that a lot. So I think it's different if it's like if I get a phone call if like I'm like in the States, if I'm like in Japan or wherever. I think I would take that differently because I know people there are different. People there will not call you and put you on the spot necessarily. And if you tell them, hey, can you give me some time and can I give you the answer later? They'll be fine with it. But here in the Philippines, it's kind of like I need an answer now. It's like, hey, are you gonna come with us? Hey, it's like a lot of the things that happen here in the Philippines, people really don't think through things through. So when they call somebody, they're not even thinking it through too. Like, have I considered this other person's? Have I thought of if they might have other plans? So I think it's different. I get Patrick though. I get Patrick in that department because I really don't like being put on the spot as well. Like, don't call me and require me to give you a yes or no answer right away for something that I was not expecting. Like, hey, can we swap schedule tonight? I'm like, dude, like, like if you told me that a couple of days ago, then I can work out my schedule. But if you're gonna do that tonight, then what am I supposed to say? I mean, I guess you can say no.
You say no. Yeah,
You
yeah,
can,
you say no. I've done that so many times. Like, no, I can't, man. I'm somewhere. I'm like, all right.
or dude, I'm outside your house. We just wanna visit you. We haven't seen you in a while. We're outside your house. I mean, if you didn't pick up the phone, you could actually probably come up with an excuse. Like if they just text you and say we're outside your house, then you could probably just not reply. Or but if you're outside your house, what are you gonna say, right? And let's say you're having an argument with your wife. It's a very awkward moment. Not necessarily a time to welcome friends in, or you're making love or whatever, or it's just not a situation where. But it happens here. People do that. That's why I don't like unannounced visits because things go on. You're disciplining your child. You're having an argument with your wife. You look like crap. Whatever it is you're doing, and people are outside already, and they call you, and that's when they inform you that when they're already there. I mean, hold on. But I'll be upfront with that. I'll be like, I can't let you in. Stuff's going on. I'm not gonna put myself in a position where everyone in my house will be uncomfortable just to entertain some friends who didn't even announce that they were coming anyways. So if I turn them down, they can call me the worst friend in the world, but I would never do that to them. I would never do that to them. Even if they tell me that, dude, even if we're fighting in the house, you can come. I'm like, nah, but that's how you roll. That's not how I roll. Like I would not want to be in the house of a friend where they're having an awkward family situation, just so I can see him and say hi. So I get Patrick with that department. That I always associate it. Same thing with like family. Like if I get a phone call from my mom or something, I know it's gonna be an errand, and she's gonna want it done right away, regardless of we're dying here or not.
That's the phone call. That's the phone call. That's why it's a phone call. Because
What?
that's the phone call because she wants it done right away. That's the whole point.
I don't
She's
know
from that
exactly.
generation. Like, hey, Rod, do this. And you're like, no, I will not have that. Do it. I'm telling you to do it. Do it.
I know exactly. So, anyways,
But I don't
that's
know.
what I'm
Maybe
saying.
I'm not just, like,
Look, but I'm
I
with
love
you.
technology.
I understand you, man. I get you. Of course, if you want something explained properly, of course it's better through verbal.
No, it's just like
But
I know Patrick's saying like in defense. What defense? Like, dude, you're like bad news are gonna come. You know what? Phone call, emails. If somebody died, somebody died. I mean, if somebody texts you like, "Oh, somebody died,"
I,
like,
I think what he's
how is it
saying
gonna make
is,
a difference?
I think what he's saying is, hit me with a text message first, because that's how I would prefer it. I have friends who are like that. My best friend Miguel, he's like that. Bye. Can I call? or well, what time can I call? Like I have a friend was Miguel will call because he was my first
He
friend
seems
who
the
had a
type.
cell phone, and he has a
Seems the type.
plan.
Seems the type.
Yeah, and he has a plan. He has a plan. Like back in the day when I didn't even have a cell phone, he already had a plan, so he could call people. Like he wasn't like limited to text lang or what. He had a plan. He had a globe plan. He still has it, and that's why he can call people anytime. But he would always like when I had text already, he would always like ask for his bike, and I call. Big and I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, he's a guy I would welcome anytime. I don't. He never calls me for anything bad. So I'm like, but he would still ask me, "Why can I call?" Then he will call if I confirm that he can, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that because if you call somebody, dude, they could be in church. They could be the baby could be falling asleep, and the phone rings, and if it's that urgent, I get it. But if it's like text a person. Hey, can I call? That's it. And then when they say sure, fire away, go ahead. Then you can call. They might be in court, like attending a hearing or something. They forgot to silence their phone. They might be in the car and could get arrested if they picked it up. If they get caught with the phone. I mean, we don't really know. I mean, like I said, so how much does it hurt to text before you call? I think for me, that's the only thing I ask. I don't mind. I don't mind people calling. It's just that sometimes people will call you and just like ask a stupid question. Like, baby, ano gani yung kwan? I'm like, what? You woke up my kid. He was already asleep. What's ganitong kwan, bay? Katuganing. I'm like, you woke up my kid for that? You know how long it took me to put him to sleep? So, there's things and we don't think about that stuff sometimes because it doesn't bother us. But there are other things that don't bother us but bother other people. And I think that's the main thing, because when you call somebody, it becomes a two-way street. It's not just about you; it's about the person you're calling as well. So, it's not like setting an alarm where you're waking yourself up. But I get what you're saying because for me, I also don't like having a long conversation on text with someone explaining something. God damn it, if it comes to that, call me already. I mean, I'm already wasting so much time texting back to you. You might as well just call me
That's what a
already.
phone call is. That's exactly my point. If it's something that should be talked about, then it should be on a phone. It should be a phone call. Like it's like the phone calls that doesn't matter. They're not even considered as phone calls. All right. So
Yeah.
it's more of like the phone calls that actually matter. Like some people are like, no, I prefer email. Like, yeah. Then sometimes you reply after 2 days.
I
I
don't like
needed the answer
email. I don't
now.
like email too. I'm bad at email. I don't check my email every day. We get email correspondence from this my kid's school all the time, and I'm really bad at that. Like something I'll find out about a school activity like days later. I would rather get that as text, to be honest. Voicemail is voicemail a thing here in there in the Philippines? Voicemail was always available. I remember from the early days of cellular service, there was always a voicemail that you can call. If they don't pick up the phone, you are forwarded to the voicemail. You can leave a voice message, but people don't really check that shit no more. And I don't know. I did not activate that function on my phone where if my phone rings a certain number of times and I don't pick up, it's forwarded to my voicemail because I think that's a separate charge now. I think if you have a voicemail service, I think you have to pay for that particular service. Because I remember back in the day, it was like automatic. If you don't answer your phone, it's forwarded to a voicemail, and you can leave a voice message there. But in the states, yeah, you can set your phone automatically to voicemail. Like if you don't want to be disturbed, when somebody tries to call you, it will direct them to the voicemail,
Same
and they
here.
can leave
Like if you
it.
don't answer, it would like, it will go straight to voicemail. And the problem is, I don't check my voicemail.
I know nobody
My
does.
voicemails, I never check it
Nobody
maybe
does.
because maybe I'm from the Philippines and it's not a thing.
Is that a
And
thing? Yeah.
sometimes I find out I find out later that I have voicemail. Then I check it. I try to listen to it. Then that my the person that I just called actually already told me something about what the phone call was about, and told me to do whatever the stuff that I needed to
Is that
do.
how people communicate there in Japan, though? Ice, like on a regular basis, like if it's a schedule issue or if it's like a
No,
work
now
work
it's
really.
more of it's like we have emails. We have a lot of emails coming in. Um, then phone calls would be for, yeah, like for example, urgent stuff. Like if it's something really important, if it's something that just we don't have an office, and I report to my schools. If it's something that's about information on the upcoming whatever, like training, or is it about like the timesheets and whatnot? It's mostly emails. And the only time you call your supervisors is if you need to take a day off. Like if it's like if somebody got sick or you can't go to work today, those things, and something about like paperwork that like is in a way like urgent. So it's basically that way. And if they call you and you don't pick up, it goes straight to voicemail. So we do have voicemail here,
Is there such a
but
thing as like appropriate or
I don't
inappropriate
check it.
hours to call somebody? I mean, how
But
is it
they
in
never, like, I
Japan?
think they're pretty strict here because they never, my supervisor never calls me on my working hours. Like even if they're my supervisor, they would never call me, except if it's if it's really really important. But if it's just like about like things that they needed to check with me, they would like wait until 4:30 is done, then they would call me and ask me something. So they're pretty like they're pretty anal about these things, so very professional. So they won't do that.
Understandable. It's
And
understandable.
but personal calls, yeah, that I mean, people take personal calls at work from time to time, so it's not like they don't do that. But in terms of like work, because we are in the ALT business, so they know that we're in school, and they know the schedules in school, so they wouldn't dare call you in like because they know that
Class
you have
time.
classes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they know that you have classes and you can't bring your phone anyway. So what they will do is they will like send you an email. But I don't know if you're in a different industry, if you're working in the office or whatever. I don't know what's the what the situation there is, but here it's it's in at least in my line of work, that's how it is. It's mostly emails.
Yeah. I
Patrick,
mean,
I think
yeah.
voicemail is the middle ground when you missed a call and still get the message, albeit at a later time. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point. But sometimes people just don't want to pick up their phone at that time, so they forward it to voicemail, so that they can read the message and not have to respond to it right away. You know.
unsa man ni ha mangutang ni dili.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's one. That's one. Like mangutang, right? I mean, well, that's putting you on the spot, right? Unless you have like
Yeah,
a
well, like I said, that's a different phone. That's not a phone call.
it's a
That's a
phone call,
scam.
man.
That's a scam. That's not supposed to be a phone call. I'm talking about like stuff like
Bye, I'm dying, bye, pautang. I'm like, yeah, sure.
that's a scam right there. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about phone calls that matters.
Naalala mo lang ako pag utang ka. Okay, sige. Yan mo lang ako naalala, ha? You know. That's the only time I'm a friend, right? Anyways. I mean, that's this is how it is. I
Okay,
mean,
Patrick, I get you, right? I get you. Like for example, um, like all right, some people like, oh, why am I getting a call? Like you would have that. Like even back in the Philippines, when I get a call from Ripper, it's usually like, did I do something wrong? Why am I getting a call from Ripper? Right? Like it doesn't matter. Like I mean, even back then when internet wasn't big, I had that feeling. And now it's the same thing too. If I get a call from my supervisor, it's the same thing. Like, what's happening? Is there something wrong? Did I do something wrong? I mean,
no,
So
you're trying to
it's
think.
still,
You're trying to think.
yeah,
Shoot, I have to come up with an excuse if this is about
exactly. Like you
what
have to be
is.
quick, be
You know
fast.
the worst part is if you get a phone call from your friend's wife. Patay, patay. Ano sagot ko nito? Patay. Pag tinanong ako, magkasama ba kayo kagabi? Right? I mean, stuff that puts you on the spot, man.
But I don't make a big deal out of it. Like people are like, no, but like panic. Like, oh come on, really,
No,
really?
I'm not gonna freak out over
People
it, but
people die every day from hunger. Or people like get mugged or whatever, and you get panic attacks for a freaking phone call.
we don't
Phone call.
we don't know what kind of phone calls Patrick gets. I mean, you know.
I know what you're saying, Patrick. Like I get that. Like I have those like, oh well,
And is that good at
like,
is not as good as palusot as us?
yeah, I would skip a heartbeat too, but I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. Like, nope, text me, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna be a baby about it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a baby about it. Like, all right, fine. You'd be like, hey, maulang man day na, stay hapon nimo. I mean, you can say that. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought, you were gonna whatever. Like, I thought you called because of this or that. It's stupid. Don't do that again, all right? Like,
Because I mean,
saying that.
sometimes you have to be in the right frame of mind. You know, like for example, if a friend gives your number to the company that they're applying for because he's using you as like a character reference or something, right? So you kind of want to be in the right mood and frame of mind to be able to say some nice things about your friend who is hopefully applying for the job and hopefully will get that job with you as a character reference. So if you get like that surprise phone call and your friend doesn't tell you that, hey, I put your name and number as a character reference. You might get a phone call from certain company that I applied for, blah blah blah. Then someone will call you and will just all of a sudden ask you about your friend. You'd be like, oh yeah, what about him? I mean, you don't know. You don't know what if you're gonna say nice things about him. Should you divulge anything about him? So that's kind of like an instance where you would be put on the spot. I mean, I get it. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I pick up the phone. If I don't, yeah, my only rule is if I know the number, I'll pick up the phone or I'll reject it and then I'll text the person and say
Yeah,
I'm
like,
driving,
if it's just a number, I
whatever.
don't answer it because
Yeah,
it's just
if
a
I
number.
same here.
I don't
If
know
I don't,
the freaking person.
and here's the thing too in the Philippines, people will call you and you don't know the number, right? And they'll keep calling, and they'll never even text you. Like sometimes I'll even text them, "Who is this? Who are you?" They will not reply. They will not text you who they are, and they'll just keep calling. And I'm like, shit, what the hell? That's the thing that annoys me.
Right.
It's like, can't you read? I'm asking who you are. I mean, maybe they're assuming you already know their number, but maybe I changed phones. Maybe I did not copy all my contacts. So why assume that? If somebody's already texting you, you're calling somebody and asking you who you are, at least identify yourself. Uy, si ano to, si ganyan to. They don't. Like most of the people here,
Identify
they don't.
yourself.
Usually,
Asshole.
usually it's probably a credit card company reminding you of your
Your payment.
if it never ends. And they're smart too. They'll change numbers. These credit card companies, they're not gonna call you with the same number. They're gonna call you with different numbers.
They're
Until
probably the
you-
collection. They're probably the collection companies or the collection offices. They probably
Yeah.
turned it over already to like those debt collectors. Like they buy the debts. That's what happens. They buy the debts, and they're the ones bugging you. So that call, you just like disregard it. Like, they're just gonna bother. It's just like like block it. Every time that happens, block it. Just like block it.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason too. Maybe some of us are, have debts or something that need to be settled. So we're like,
don't
we
know.
panic.
Maybe-
We panic
maybe
when there's a
it's
call.
Like I would have to agree with Patrick on this. Like maybe it's just me getting old, and I think that's how I felt when I was younger. When my uncle would tell me like, "What are you doing on the phone? You've been there for 3-4 hours. Isn't your ear hot already, or isn't it like
Sweaty?
on fire?" Right? And I'd be like, "No, I'm fine." And he'd be like, I don't get it. Why don't you just like go to her house and talk to her there? Go to their house, visit her, because that's the way they did it in their time. But with us, we did it through.
It's the
phones.
phone. Jamming, di ba?
Right?
Jamming, like, you
Jamming,
always have
yeah,
this,
we talk
you have
on
a,
the phone.
you have a spot, you papalit-palit na ng position.
yeah.
Hello. I don't know what we're
Right?
getting out of that,
was
but we're
our
like,
time. That was our time.
and now I can't even formulate like a topic for conversation that would make me stay on the phone for an hour. More so 3 hours. I mean, I agree with Ice. I went through the 3 hour shit, man. I mean, like, pawis na pawis. Kabila na naman.
Right?
That's why we have that.
That's what my uncle said or my auntie said because their time was not telebabad. It
What
was
the
like,
hell were we
go-
talking about back then, dude? What were we chit chatting with the girls with? I mean, what are we asking them about? Life?
That's the beauty of
I
it.
mean-
Like that's the beauty. You're not talking about anything. You're just talking about like, oh, what color do you like? Blue? Oh, really? I like blue too. All right. Like, do you have a blue shirt? Yeah, I do. Actually, I have four.
It was
Oh,
just
really?
there
I
was
have
nothing
five.
else to do for her. There was nothing else to do for you. We didn't have internet, so might as well talk, right?
Exactly. Because that's what I'm saying. Because now it's screwed up because we just have so many choices now. So even the people that you want, like nobody's bored anymore. Back in the day, we are the answer to a lot of bored girls, right? Because they're bored too. Like they want to listen to our bullshit because they're bored,
That's right.
right? Just because they're bored, they just want to listen to our bullshit. They don't necessarily like it.
Dude,
but
you cannot count the times how many
Better than
times
nothing.
I made a girl cry on the phone with my bullshit stories. Like every girl's cry, man. Like
Hey,
kawawa ka
there's a lot of
naman.
girls
Kawawa ka
crying,
naman
like-
pala lahat.
there's a lot of people out there who are
Iniwan ka
bored,
pala ng ano mo.
right? But now nobody's bored anymore because of these apps.
There's just like so many apps.
I
So
can't even
many.
talk to my son. Like I try to talk to my son.
Exactly.
It's like,
That's
what
what
are we
I'm
gonna talk
saying.
about? My son's like,
That's the
wait,
sad
Papa,
part.
what are we going to talk about, Papa? I'm like, God, I just want to talk. I was like, what are we going to talk about? Like, like it is.
Yeah. I don't have time. I have to do the game. I don't have time for you.
I think it's gonna be the opposite now. It's like I think when kids grow up, probably gonna be traumatized and say, back when I was young, my dad was always talking to me.
I know, like, okay.
My dad was always there. What the heck? Why was he never gone? Why was he
They would
always?
feel bad about it. I mean, it's the opposite now.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know the
now I'm
opposite.
saying, another reason why people do not want phone calls is that it can be a spam call. We get that regularly here in Australia, especially if the number is not an Australian phone number.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, Patrick. I get what you're saying.
You
But I'm
can't
not
reject,
talking about
huh?
these phone calls.
You have a hard time
I'm talking about
rejecting these
phone calls.
calls.
I'm talking about phone calls that are actual phone calls in my definition. I'm not talking about these spam calls.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
talking
know.
about
But you see,
all
he
right?
can't. He can't differentiate though. A phone call is a phone call. He's just talking about the phone call, like just the panic attack that he gets whenever the phone rings,
Like if
regardless.
it's somebody like I don't know the number, beep. Like I don't have to answer it. Like all right, fine, I don't answer. Like if it's like oh Rod, all right, I'm not gonna think like what does Rod want from me. Like I'm gonna answer like straight away. Hey, dude, what up? And be like, oh, dude, whatever. Like you doing something? Like well, not really. Like wow, like blah blah blah. If I can do it, if I'm available, like yeah, sure. If not, like I don't think so. Like nah,
Yeah,
maybe.
Patrick probably has a hard time rejecting these spam callers. Like we get those calls here too. Like, Mom, did you know? Like my wife, he gets it all the time. Mom, did you know that you are eligible for free insurance? Blah 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 blah.
I'd
Blah.
kill him.
My wife's like, ay, hindi namin kailangan
I'd
yan.
kill him. I'd kill him.
Or I always get
Okay,
these offers. Anyway,
and that's
yeah, go
what I'm
ahead.
saying about it. Like I totally get that. Like all these other calls, yeah, I get it. But if it's like if if it's because these people are like if it's my supervisor, I would take it right away. I'm not gonna complain that my supervisor called me. Like it's the people that I know. But yeah, if we're talking about like spam calls or credit card company calls or like advertising or whatever bullshit calls, and that's not the phone call I'm talking about. I'm talking about like from people. Like if they need something, like I mean, sometimes I don't read my messages if I'm on shopping. I would prefer it if my wife calls like, oh, it's a phone call. What? Can you get me some toilet papers or whatever? Like, all right, cool. Because she did that so many times. Like, send me a message.
I know you didn't
And
read
I,
it. Yeah,
I didn't
same
read it
here.
because I don't read it because I'm
Same
busy.
here.
I'm like,
I would read it like I'm already in the car. I'm like it's too
yeah,
late. Same
exactly.
here. Same here.
Totally.
Same
I'm like,
here.
I'm already in the car or like I'm already at home. I would read it when I sit down in the
Huh?
kitchen.
Oh, see, nothing to cry about. Jeez. Okay, good.
I'm sitting at
Yeah.
my dining table, and then my wife comes out. Did you get the tissue papers? And then I open my messages, like, oh, like, why didn't you call me? Call me. I don't read my messages when I'm like doing something. Like, call me so that I can stop. I will answer the phone.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
get
but
me some
but
oil.
but I get
something,
Patrick though. I think he's talking more about like phone calls from numbers that are not identified. Like I said, if it's my wife, if it's Raj, hello, Krisi.
Palitin ko og something. Wako ka receive. Good excuse to not buy the shit that she wanted, right?
Yeah. Well, like for me, I always like I she'll text me, but most of the time I end up reading it in the car already. So I agree with Ice. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't. It's so weird because back in the day, whenever we get a phone call, we get so excited, especially when your cell phone is a new experience to you, or just every time you get a phone call, like even at home, sa landline, di ba? Sa landline, it's like when the phone rings. You're like, kanino yan, kanino yan. You're so excited. You're hoping that it's yours, right? Like, oh, sino yan, sino yan. Then somebody else answers it. Now it's like your phone rings. You're like, my kid's like, Papa, your phone's ringing. My wife's like, babe, may tumatawag. I'm like, man. I'm like, I'm literally like, paka-important. I'm like, nah, if that's important, magte-text. I'm like that now. But back in the day, right? Where we like, when the phone rings, sino yan, sino yan? Baka sa akin yan, even when you're thinking of crap, right? You finish your crap real quick. Because it might be your phone call. And you don't want
Holy
that.
shit.
What?
Hang on. Have you read
News?
Have you read like yeah? Well, it's about Queen Elizabeth. I think It says she is under medical supervision.
Oh,
And doctors
crap.
are concerned. Holy crap, man! It's the Queen.
I just thought it was like, I thought it was like Amy Lee of Evanescence. Like that's what I was reading. Well, let me see. Oh man. Oh well, she's like what 100? Queen's doctors are concerned for health and recommend the Queen is under medical with Prince Charles by her side. Oh man.
Oh my God, this is.
Well,
Oh man.
it's gonna be King Charles.
Wait, the queen is ano?
Prince Charles, William head to Balmoral to be with Queen. Oh man. The whole country will be deeply concerned by the news from Buckingham or with Her Majesty. All of us are feeling profoundly concerned at reports of Her Majesty's health. My thoughts and wishes. The Queen's four children are now with her at
What
Balmoral
was that?
Castle.
What was that thing that happened just recently? There was like a sort of big celebration, right? Was that for the Queen? Was that this year or last year? There were like performers. They were like, there was
I think
even
it
like
was
that.
this year.
Was it this year with that chopper or whatever, like with 007? Like
Oh no
doing,
no no! That was last year. That was last year. That was last year.
that was last year
That was
with
last year. Yeah, yeah. Roger
David,
Craig.
right?
Roger Craig.
Yeah,
Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig did something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did a bit.
Yeah, yeah. That
All
was
right.
that. That was last year.
That was last year. Was it late last year? Or was it like
Um,
a year ago? Like around this
Yeah, pa,
month?
she's ano. I see it too. The news.
the Queen. Yeah, the Queen's everywhere now.
Oh man,
Dang man. Oh well.
terrible, terrible.
She's 96 years old though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not her subject, but I'm deeply concerned as well. I mean, in a way, she's been a part of history.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
She's been
Man,
around for a long
this
time.
longest reigning monarch ever. I mean, she's the longest reigning ever. I mean, you know, many people thought she would outlive Charles. But, anyways, yeah, prayers for her. I mean, I don't know her personally, but she seems like a good person and somewhat of a likable royalty. I mean, she's a symbol of strength for sure. You've never really seen her like, she's unflappable. You've never seen her like out of her element. Like, she's always been kind of quiet and strong. What the heck?
What's happening?
Why? What the heck was that? Why?
It's just a car.
Why? What happened? Come here, come here. Come here, come here. What happened? Come here, come here. Come here. What happened? Come here. It's not a car. Come here. Come here. It's not a car. It was a plane. Are you okay?
I got scared.
Why? I was surprised to why it was so loud. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. It's okay. You think what? You thought it was something? What? Drink water. Drink water. Why you thought it was? You thought it was like. You thought
I
like.
got nuclear
You thought the show was flying. It sounded like a rocket. For me, I was like, what the heck was that? Like, you didn't even hear it like take off. It just like took off like right there. Drink water. Drink water. Jeez, man. It's gonna land on our heads. Anyway. Yeah, I'm back.
Right.
Yeah,
What happened?
Raj
It
got
was,
scared.
because of a plane.
Yeah, like it came out on. I don't think that was a. I don't think that was a commercial jet. I think that was like a fighter jet. It was like
Right.
whooshing, it's like the hell, and he was probably worried about the Queen or something, preoccupied, and all of a sudden this thing. He thought like the Russians attacked us or whatever, so he freaked. he.
All
Very
right.
free. I had to give him a glass of water to calm him down. I mean, Raj got that from his mom. He's always been kind of, he's not matakotin, but he's like, he gets, like, he panics easily. I told you about I'm planning. He got that from me too. You know?
The
Like, we were
rebels are
just-
at it again. Maybe the rebels.
What rebels? We're not in Chechnya. What are you talking about?
They're not
The rebels here don't have jets.
Yeah. They have slippers and Armalite. They had Armalites.
And upside down
Still
flags.
have Armalites up until now.
In the Garan, in Carbin, whatever the heck it is that they use. So, anyways, prayers for the health of Queen Elizabeth. I mean, this is very recent. So,
It is. I just saw it, like it popped up. I was like, what? And I mean, see, it's one of those things that in your head, like Queen Elizabeth will live forever. That's just like it's just like
I
in the
mean,
back of my head, like, oh,
dude,
she's gonna live
she
forever.
She like 17 hours ago, she just called a meeting and appointed UK's new prime minister. Just like recently. I mean, just like 17 hours ago, and now she's like gravely ill. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. 'Cause I think she also had like a talk with Boris Johnson,
I
the
know. There
outgoing
you.
prime minister.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
saw
There you
that. Like,
go.
was it yesterday or 2 days
Yeah, that
ago?
was just
I saw
yesterday.
that
Probably
on the
just
news.
yesterday. Yeah, it was very recent. And now she's like, what? You know, like, I mean, so I guess it's not a good time to watch Naked Gun. I mean,
Was she
have you
in,
seen
was she in the film?
have you seen Naked Gun?
Well, I barely remember,
No,
but I
there was a
saw it when I was
no,
a
there was
kid.
a scene. There's like a scene there where they, they attended the ball with supposedly the queen, but it's not really the queen.
Right,
It's a
right.
spoof, right? And like he ended up like getting on top of her, and like the pictures were taken, and like it
All
became.
right, right.
So it's
Right.
not.
Because
You know,
how many naked guns were there? Like
I
two?
don't know. There's
Like
two and a
one,
half.
two and a half. There's two and a half,
Yeah,
right?
there's one and there's two. I don't know. I don't know if there's a three, but I love Naked Gun, man. Let's say Nielsen. I mean,
Dude,
I
I
guess it's
love
not a.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
love
know, I
that
know, I
movie.
know.
My
Hot
favorite
shots.
part was my favorite part was the bingo part when he opened the like the drawer and it was like bingo.
I
And
know,
he
know.
took out a
And there's a bingo card. then,
I
and,
thought about
then
something
no, that part too, where they were like attending the Queen's ball or something, and then they were in charge of checking security, and then the guy was like checking the pockets of the guy entering the premises, but he ended up digging into the pockets of his partner, his friend. So when he took out the wallet, he goes, "Hey, here's a wallet picture of your wife." And the guy's like, "What?" He starts beating up the guy. It's actually his wallet. Like he overshot the pocket. So he's actually digging into the pocket of his partner. And he goes, he opens it. "Hey, why do you have a picture of his wife?" "What? You have a picture?" He punches the guy.
whoever made that movie was a genius.
Filipino.
You know, I thought so.
Oh man.
It
But
was just, like,
hey,
so stupid, right? It was just like so stupid, but it was so funny.
it's like Hot Shots, right? You've seen Hot Shots, right?
Like Hot Shots, yeah, like Hot Shots.
Not Hot Shots, the Pinoy Hot Shots. The
No,
Charlie
Hot
Sheen
Shots,
Hot Shots.
Charlie Sheen Hot Shots.
You have to clarify that. There is a Pinoy Hot Shots.
I think they spoofed Top Gun. Was it Top Gun they spoofed?
Top Gun,
Iron
Rambo, Iron
Rambo,
Eagle,
yeah.
everything, man, everything. Yeah, they spoofed a lot, but yeah, it was Charlie Sheen.
I was
I
so
remember
young.
the-
I was like in high school when that came out. Hot Shots.
Yeah, the more recent movies are like Scary Movie, right?
Yeah.
There's Scary Movie, Scary Movie 2. It's spoofed horror
But
movies.
Spaceballs. Can you remember? I remember.
Yes, I
Spaceballs
love
being funny,
Spaceballs.
but I did
That's-
not.
That's very old.
I remember, but I don't remember. Like
That's
I know,
an
I
old
know
movie.
It's funny, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, John
But it's
Candy
like-
was there. Rick Moranis was
Mel
there.
Brooks,
he was
right? The
he
Mel
was
Brooks
called
movie.
yeah. Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks has always has this like particular
Dude, Life
spoof.
Stinks.
stuff.
I love that movie. Life Stinks. Hutto.
He's-
Hutto.
I mean, kind of like I mean, everybody gives credit to Monty Python for starting all that stuff, right? So, if you dig the
Dude, I
Monty
haven't watched
Python,
that. I haven't seen that. Vicky talks about it all the time.
Monty
Like,
Python,
I have not seen that.
dude, watch it. The Life of Brian and Holy Grail. I don't know which one I find funnier though.
I have
Um,
not seen that. And
I
I've
watched
heard
that.
so much talks about it. Vicky talks about it a lot.
Dude,
And now you're talking about it.
it's good to watch if you're high on something. Like if you've been smoking pot, whatever. Monty Python's a killer thing because you laugh at everything. But if you're not in the mood to laugh, you probably be like. But it's British though, so British usually they're funnier. The Brits are usually funnier for some reason. I like the way the Brits pull off their like John Cleese and all those guys. I like the way they pull off their humor. I like Brit humor more than like what's his name? Benny Hill. You know Benny Hill? Familiar with Benny Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, that naughty guy.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
like okay, case in point. I mean, he's not even a comedian, but I laugh a lot if it's Hugh Grant on screen. Like the bits that he does.
Yeah. That's Brit
Right?
humor.
Like-
yeah.
It's just like so funny. Like I mean, he's not even a comedian, but he says something and I just start.
I know,
laughing.
I know. The way he responds, because that's how the Brits are. There's something charming about the Brits that I can't quite put my finger on it. That
Who's
doesn't
this
seem
guy? Hot Fuzz. What's his name?
doesn't
Hot
seem
Fuzz.
cringy. Like always hot
Mission
fuzz.
Impossible. Mission Impossible. What's his name?
Oh my god, what is his name?
Hot Fuzz.
Let's just Google it.
Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz. God damn it.
I know the guy in the guy who's
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg. Yeah, Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg. Wasn't he in that zombie thing as well?
Yeah.
Like that all of a sudden
was in
they
that
ended up in the pub or something. Like what was the
right.
title?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like about Brit humor. It's like it's not it doesn't try too hard. It's just it come off naturally funny. I mean, if you watch, like for example, you watch Love Actually, right? Love Actually is very charming. There's actually nothing there that forces it to be a comedy, except for that Mr. Bean part where he's taking his time to wrap the gift for the mistress. Oh, we put some candies.
Put some candy.
He's like,
And Alan Rickman is funny there too. Like, oh, come on. What's next? Like, that was funny. That was funny.
I mean, just that scene alone, right? I mean, you watch that. Like, they didn't do that shit in American movies. They don't have those sensibilities in American movies. Yeah, that kind of putting it into something it's like natural. American movies is either
I like Adam Sandler humor. I never get tired of it. It never
yeah,
gets old.
he has his own style though.
Dude, I mean, like, okay, Wedding Singer, just go with it. Like, he's just like funny. He's got, like 51st Dates.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, he's just funny. He's just
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I like his way of funny.
Yeah, and then once his name shows up, his best friend, the Pinoy guy. You can do it.
Rob Schneider, I know, right? He always have that bit in his
He'll always get the short end of the stick. Like he'll always get beat up, or he'll always end up getting run over.
Like, just go with it with the kids. It's like, fuck, I know you have your real shit going.
You're done? See,
Gotta go-
told you. I know.
Shit together, like, just go with it. Then the kids started crying, like, oh, I don't see my dad doesn't have time for us, and he was like playing like, oh, and then the girl left, like, come on, man, what are you doing? I know you got real shit going in your life, but fuck, like, just one more day. Like, he was so mad at the kids.
Was that 51st Days where he always got beat up? It was like this one-eyed guy, like
Yeah,
always right. This Hawaiian, like long hair.
Yeah, that's 51st Dates. 51st Dates.
That's why I love Deuce Bigelow, man. I mean, remember when he dated that girl who was always cursing? Your Deuce Bigelow, like she couldn't help herself. Bullshit! Like he would in public, and the girl was like,
Yeah, you can't help it. Like, yeah.
and he bought her to a baseball game. Because then nobody cares. Because everybody would be like yelling at the.
True.
And he dated a giant girl, and that girl with narcolepsy would like fall asleep. He had to tie her hair so she won't fall in the soup. And then he brought her home, and when the girl like
giant, when she was like acting like a baby. Was that
No,
with the
no.
giant girl? Because she was just like a baby.
no, I don't know. I thought he was just like a baby. I just remember he was like dating this giant girl, and people
There was
were
that
like,
part that she was like, like 'cause he's a Bigelow, right? Like he's a Bigelow, so.
"Oh yeah." So he could be like, yeah. So he has to like entertain the girls, right? He has to make sure that they're satisfied and happy.
And I think the Judd Apatow films, I kind of like dig his humor too. Like Judd.
Yeah, I
Apatow,
like Judd
the
Apatow
way
film.
they-
That's super bad,
So-
right?
So I mean, they kind of like act stupid and talk stupid, but it's like it comes out funny.
Is Knocked Up a Judd Apatow film?
I think so. That's Judd.
I mean, if it's like Seth Rogen, right? Usually it's Judd.
Yeah, like because Seth Rogen too, like he says all the things he's like what? Like, he says all these things.
He's like,
have you seen the latest from like Seth Rogen with Charlize Theron? Like
No.
Like, she's the Madam Secretary or something. She's like the Secretary of State.
what?
Ayaw ang volume by one.
No, I haven't seen it. The what? No, I haven't seen it. But anyways, all right. So I won't be able to do a show on Saturday. By the way, I have a gig.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So what?
So it's
like
either
Monday?
Friday or Monday. Yeah, it's either Friday or Monday. But probably Monday, most likely Monday, because I might have to do something tomorrow.
All right. Okay. Then let's do Monday then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So,
So, all right, let's wrap it up. It's 10:18 here. Ah,
prayers for the
so Monday
queen.
then. Yes, praise for the Queen. And
Otherwise,
Patrick, don't get panic attacks. All right, just reject the call. If it's something that you think that's from a credit card company, or I don't know, like maybe you think it's a scam, just like reject it. All right, don't get panic attacks. Like, oh my God, my mom's calling me. My mom's calling me. Like, pick up the freaking phone. It's your mom.
oh, it's just the alarm. Hi. Alright, anyways, yeah, I'll see you Monday, dude. Patrick, we'll see you Monday, all right?
All right, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. Thanks a lot. This has been the OK Show, and we are out. Good night.